Welcome to Slickbagger's YouTube channel. I'm Steve, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to remove your outer and inner fairing on a 15 and up Road Glide. Guys, I've searched the internet and there's really just a couple of write-ups and maybe a few pictures, but absolutely no videos that I found on a 15 and up inner Road Glide fairing, and it's really not that difficult. It's kind of a lengthy process. It's not hard. Anybody that has a couple of wrenches can do this at home. The reason why I'm taking my inner fairing off is because I've got a painted inner fairing to go on the whiskey project back here. This video more or less is just going to be an instructional video and to show you guys how to actually get to the inner fairing so you can swap all this stuff over and get a painted one on there. Let's actually just get the camera over here and get this started. So the first thing we want to do is get the outer fairing off. So if you just had a windscreen on here, you would just remove the 4 bolts on the windscreen and actually just loosen them for right now so you can take the windscreen out. Once you have those loose, you can just simply lift up and out on your windscreen and get that out of the way. But once you get your windshield out of the way, you just simply pull this up and out away. It's just your vent cover right there. You can take that, set it out of the way. And then you've got the actual vent in here, and it's just clipped in with a couple of pieces right in here above the radio, so it's very easy to remove. You can grab the sides and just kind of pop it up. I like to put my finger in a hole here, kind of pop it up, do the other side. And you can see the clips right here that go in the top of this radio bracket right here. So from here, you just want to disconnect your blinkers down here on the side from the wiring harness. And to do that, you just simply push this down, pull it apart. So that's out of the way. Do the same thing on the other side. Pull it apart, let that out of the way. Now that you have the vent and stuff off, you can reach down in here. You want to get these speaker grills off because there's hidden bolts behind these grills. So you can reach in here just like this, just kind of knife hand it and pop that vent out just like that. Get one side, other side, and pull that out. You want to do that on both sides. Now we're going to go ahead and leave those 2 screws in there, and we're going to go ahead and remove the blinker bolts. The blinker is going to stay attached to the outer fairing, so you don't have to worry about that falling off. But you want to do both sides. Now from there, you have 2 bolts here for your little wind deflectors. There's 1 on each side. Go ahead and pull those. Just want to repeat that. Now the reason why we left the 2 bolts underneath the speakers, there's 1 here in the same spot on the other side. We can kind of get up on the bike because once we release these 2 bolts, this outer fairing is going to come off. So we can just loosen these, but don't take them out. I'll do that on both sides. Then you can get up on here and kind of put your body weight on it so you can hold the fairing on. Take these screws out. And once you release those, you can just gently pull the outer fairing straight off of the bike, just like that, out of the way. Now from here, we just want to remove the headlight. And the way to get to these bolts up here, you got 2 bolts up here, 2 bolts down here. Very simple. You got these little wire harness things in the way. You can take anything. If you've got, you know, these little plastic tools for trim, you can use that, or a flathead screwdriver. Either way, you'll see it's just got this little Christmas tree thing on it that pokes through there. So you can move those up out of the way. And now you have access to the 2 bolts here and the 2 bolts in the bottom. Start by taking the bottom ones out. The top 2. Take this last one out. These extra wires on mine are the Zero side blinker lights here. So if you don't have those, you don't have to worry about that. But once you have the bolts out, you can pull it out just like that. Got the clip on the back, very easy. Just lift up, unplug the headlight, and the headlight bezel is now out. Now from here, we can go ahead and start unplugging some wires. You can start with the radio because this whole assembly has to come out. You can start with the antenna, which is really kind of a booger to get out. You squeeze and pull. It's a little bit tough to get out of there. You push that down. can do your USB port that goes up behind your media door where you can plug your phone and stuff in. That has to be unplugged from the back of the radio. And then you have this main harness right here. Now this one here has a pivoting clip on it, so you want to push on this inside. You got a little tab here. You have to push down. Once you push that down, you can push this over, and you can see this whole top spin. It'll basically unplug itself as you do that. So now you have this one disconnected. So now you have that harness out of the way. This wire that goes up over your bracket that goes to your USB, you're gonna have to cut that zip tie and get that wire separate. Now guys, just remember when you're doing this, if you're iffy about how this all goes back together, get your cell phone out and take a picture. If you take a picture of it before you do all this, it's very easy to remember where these wires go. But the one thing I want to point out is most of this stuff only goes one place, and the links is not going to let you take this over here and plug it into something, and they all have kind of unique plugs on them, so there's not a lot that you need to remember. But like I said, if you're not sure, just take a picture. Once you have that one disconnected, you can get in here and undo this. Anything on this metal plate right here needs to come off. Some of these will come right out, and some of them are a real booger to get out. So we're gonna do the same thing to the other side, guys. I'm gonna pull this clip up. Take this one off the front. And then this one back here. Just like that. Now from here you got a black plug and a gray plug right here. These go over to your speaker pods. Those are your speakers. You just simply press that down and pull it off. Just like that. Now these two wires going up here go to your gauges. So you just want to go ahead and push that in and take that off. On this side you got the same one going to your gauge. Push it in, pull it apart. Now from here, you've got a black clip here and a white clip here. You just want to reach in, push in on the side, unplug it. Those are easy to remember, guys. Black to black, white to white. So when you're putting this back together, it's very easy. Now up here at the top, you've got one more clip on this side. You just push it in, pull it out, and you can take that wire harness completely off. So the very next thing we want to do is remove our fairing support bracket. You're going to have a bolt here and a bolt here. I just simply take this one off. You got one on top, one on bottom. You're going to remove that piece just like that, and you're going to be disconnected from the crash bar. And just to get it out of the way, we're going to take this one off. That way we don't bang that on anything when we're taking the fairing off. And of course you just want to repeat that process on the other side. Now from here you've got a bolt here and a bolt here that holds the radio frame, this whole frame right here, to the inner fairing. You can start by taking these two out. Now another part of your wiring harness, and remember these clips that we unplugged earlier, you got to get those little Christmas trees out of there. So get your tool in there, your flathead screwdriver, whatever you're using. Get those off. Just like that. You can see that this wiring harness goes through this frame, and this needs to stay on the bike. So we need to fish that back through these holes. They're a little rigid, so they're kind of a pain to get through there. But just take your time. Fish one part through at a time. When you're putting this back together, you're going to do the same thing. Just kind of fish one connector at a time through there. Don't try to jam them all through there at once. Just like that. And we have one more down here. So we're going to pull that off and set that off to the side. We're going to do the same thing with this one over here, but these 4 bolts right here are what's holding the inner fairing and the framework to the front of the bike. So when we're pulling this off, you want to make sure that these feed through this hole as you're pulling it off. Fish these wires through on the other side so they're centrally located, just like that. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this free video. If you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to check out the channel, we got 120 something bagger related videos. There's a ton. Check out the channel and make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. That's what keeps us coming out here into the shop and doing these videos for you. All of our videos are always free all the time. We don't ask for donations. We don't do Patreon. We don't do any secret squirrel Facebook things where you have to pay us money to join and all. Everything is free all the time on this channel. So make sure you check us out. Find us over on Instagram, find us over on Facebook. If you want to get a hold of some bagger swag, that's where you can find it over on Facebook. We do a pre-order about 5-6 times a year. Put your order in, you get t-shirts, hoodies, koozies, all that good stuff. But find us over there. But I'm gonna let you guys get back to the video. I just wanted to stop a second and let you guys know that I appreciate the hell out of every one of you guys. Back to it. From here, you've got a couple of choices depending on what you're trying to do, why you're trying to get to the interfering. You can go ahead and take all of this individual stuff off. It's all attached to the interfering. Your gauges, your radio plate, your speaker boxes, your vents, everything is attached to this interfering bracket right here. Or I can simply take these 4 bolts out right here and I can lift up on this fairing. There's 2 tabs down here at the bottom that kind of hooks in. So when you're setting this back on, you can set it and kind of roll it up on there and it holds it for you. I can take these 4 bolts out, lift it up and pull it off as a whole and then set it on a table and do whatever I need to do, walk back over here and put it back on. But because I'm doing an interfering, I'm going to go ahead and start taking the individual pieces off. So I've got the speaker pods off. All I have left are the radio and the vents and the gauges, and this stuff's starting to get a little loose. It's getting a little floppy on here. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and remove these 4 bolts and pull the whole thing off and put it on a table where I can work a little bit more comfortable by myself and not have parts falling off. If you're doing this by yourself, take your wire harness, take some kind of tape. I use painter's tape, it's easy to get off, and put the harness together like this. When you pull this off, you want this to feed through this hole. Now this hole is pretty big, but this is big, bulky. It's not super heavy, it's just a little awkward. And when you're starting to pull this fairing off, this stuff will kind of get caught up on that hole. So that kind of keeps it together and it's a little bit less to deal with when you're taking it apart. Now remember, this is hooked down here in the bottom, so it's not just going to fall off. Now once I get that done, this was released and I can lift up on it and pull it off. Feeding those wires through and take it over and set it on the table. So from here, we've already removed the top 2 screws up here beside the radio, and we have these 2 right here that are holding the interfering on. But there's other pieces that are connected to this metal frame that are also connected to the interfering as well, like these vents. The vents are connected by a screw right here to the interfering, but they're also connected to the bracket right here on the side. So we're going to want to remove these 2. One on each side. Now we're going to remove this screw right here on the inside of the vent, straight down like this. Now from here, you're going to lift the vent straight up. This bottom hole down here just kind of rides on a little nipple inside the interfering. So when you put this back in, you just slide it down, catch that nipple, and then you can put your screw back in. So just lift it straight up and the vent comes off. Just like that. You've got the vent off on both sides. Now we can remove the radio bracket, which is going to be these 2 screws and the 2 that we already took off at the top. If you want to leave those in till you get to this point, that's fine as well. This radio is kind of heavy, so just hang on to this when you pull these out. Now once you get those screws out, you can lift this off and you can move that whole bracket and radio out of the way. Now you have your gauges, which are very easy, 3 screws on each gauge. Remove those. Simply lift straight off and that gauge is going to come off for you. Now to get the remaining glove box compartments off, it's a little bit tricky, it's not too bad. You've got a bolt here. You're going to want to pull this bolt, and of course this wire comes over here and goes to your like charging port here, so you want to unplug that. You can leave it on there, but just unplug it because that piece actually right now is going to stay in the inner fairing. So the first thing we want to do is remove this bolt right here going down. Then you want to remove this side over here. And we can take this piece off of here now. Just pull it straight up and off. Just like that. I'm going to flip this up so you can see, but this is the door. This is your glove compartment door. You got 4 screws here. You want to pull those 4, release the door, and then this one, this one, this one, and this one to release the hinge from the inner fairing. So that's what we're going to be doing there. It's hard for me to get a good camera angle on that for you. One back, one middle, one outside. And set those there. Pull straight up on your hinge. There's your hinge piece. The very last thing we need to do now is pull this auxiliary charging port out. On the older models, I guess this would have been a cigarette lighter, but on this one, you just simply turn this outer casing here, unscrew it, just like that, hang on to the inside, just like that, pull it out, just like that. Now your inner fairing is completely stripped. This is your stock inner fairing, and we're ready to put our painted inner fairing back on. So it's pretty much that easy, guys, not too hard. So now we have our painted inner fairing up on the table, and you guessed it, reverse assembly. So rather than making you painstakingly sit here and watch me put this back together, it's just gonna go back together the exact same way that it came apart. Not to skip on a bunch of the steps of reassembling this, but really, guys, just you watch me take the parts off, just simply put the parts back on the way that we took them off. Of course, with the painted inner fairing, you've got the painted glove boxes, so that was pretty much the last thing that I put on, just so to make sure I didn't scratch anything. And then I walked it over here and set it back on there the same way we took it off. Pretty easy step-by-step video there for you guys. I hope that helps. If you have any questions on this, please leave it in the comment box down below. I check YouTube every day, and I'll try to help you the best that I can. But hopefully that clears up a few things and gives everybody a really good step-by-step video on how to get the inner fairing off of a Road Glide. If this video helped you, please hit that like and hit that subscribe. Check out the rest of the YouTube channel, over 100 bagger-related videos on there, all free. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe. Hit that little bell icon, and it'll let you know every time we upload a video. I'm gonna get out of here and get my butt back to work. And until the next video, as always, be safe. Keep your knees in the breeze. Thanks for checking out the YouTube video, guys. If you like what you see, make sure you hit the subscribe button over here. Over 100 bagger related videos on our YouTube channel. But to get you started, maybe you can check out this one or this one. Just one of them. Not really going to say anything else. Just click the button, man. No, just